Welcome to another video tutorial from Jack's Tech Corner. I am your host Jack, and this is another Photoshop Element 6 video tutorial. In this lesson, I thought I would teach you how to use the cookie cutter tool. We're going to use the cookie cutter basically to make a picture scrapbook ready. And I know a lot of you are saying, Jack, I like to just create a picture and cut it out and make some jagged edges and paste it in the scrapbook. This is just a fun way to use a tool, Photoshop Element 6, to create something with a little bit more pizzazz to it, I guess. So let's start here. Here's a birthday picture that we're going to use. We're going to right click on it. We're going to go to Full Edit. Once we're in our full editor, once again go to View, Fit on Screen, and then remember, duplicate your background image. Just click on it and drag it up. You can turn it off or leave it on. It doesn't really have any effect to what we're doing here. Now, the reason we're using the cookie cutters, you can see a bunch of background here that we want to get rid of, and we want to just put the focus on the birthday girl. This is the cookie cutter tool. It looks like a little star. Now if you click on that and you click this little pull down menu for shapes, so we click the little pull down menu right here, and what you're going to have is cookie cutter shapes. Now to view them all, click this little double arrow right here you see. Go down and say all element shapes. When we do that, that'll open it up so we can see everything that Elements has to offer us that we can use to cut out our pictures, add some little clip arts to our pictures. But for this demonstration, what we're going to use is actually, as soon as we find them here, so back up here, we're going to use these. These are little crop shapes. See where it says crop shape on it? So they're going to help us crop our picture out. I like to use this one here, shape number 24. Once you get it, just click up here and we can close the box out. Now all we have to do is just like if we'd crop a picture, we're just going to pull out right over top. See how the jagged edges are coming out over that? We can move this to fit in what we want in there. That looks pretty good. Maybe you can crop it back a little bit if you want. You can open it up a little bit if you want to see some more of the top of her head. And maybe a little bit more of the cake. There we go. Now, once you have it set to the way you want it, and I just use my left mouse and pull these little handles out right here. Just click the check. There we go. Now what we want to do next is we got to fill in this background. See how I made the background transparent? Because it pretty much did like we were doing when we were replacing backgrounds. It deleted the background. So to do this, let's just go ahead and create a new layer. Once we have that new layer created, we want to paint that new layer. So make sure you're selected on the new layer. See, it's gray. Let's go down here on the foreground color. I'm going to use kind of a light to off blue color. And then all we have to do is grab the little paint bucket. Click on that. See, it looks like a paint bucket. And just left click and we're going to paint that layer. There we go. Now the layer is painted. It looks okay, but it looks kind of flat, right? It doesn't look like something we created in Photoshop Elements. It looks like something we threw together in one of the free programs out there. So let's go up to Filter, and we're going to add a texture to this. Texturize, and we're going to put a little texture on this blue just to make it more interesting. What we're using here is the grain. We're going to use a grain layer. And you can use any one of these. Play around. See the different layer styles? There's the tiles. There's a textured. But we're going to try to use the grain. You can intensify the grain, make it real grainy. But we want these to be as least intrusive, but still interesting as possible. Let's bring that up. You can lower your contrast down. Make it a little darker, a little lighter. That looks pretty good. All right, like I say, folks, there's no right or wrong. It's just a personal taste. Now you see we have a nice grain put on there. Now remember, these are like sheets of paper. So let's grab this layer and put it on top of the background layer. Just pull it right up and drop it. There you go. Now we have a nice background layer on top or we have a nice background layer beneath our picture. If you click on the move tool, we can actually move this one around. See, now we can bring this down and move it, kind of center it, make it look nice. That looks really good, and I think we did a good job. But you know, I'm never quite done at that point. We want to make this and get this scrapbook ready. So does this picture tell us anything? Sure. It tells us that we're at a birthday party. Can we make it better? Absolutely. We can add some text to it. So let's go down here and click on the text tool. Now, you see here where it says the color of text is going to be blue. See up here? That's the color of text. Click that. We need to change this. I'm going to make it red. If we left it blue, it's just going to fill in with the blue and you're not going to see it anyway. Come up here and pick your font, whatever kind of font you want to use, and pick your font size. I would suggest 72 for this example. Click here and we're going to type in here. There, now we'll type 16B D-A-Y. Now we know it's a 16th birthday party. Let's click on the check, and that's going to lock that in. Now it looks pretty good. We can use that in our scrapbook, I would think. But no, we're not quite finished yet. We want to make it look really interesting. We want to make this a conversation piece. So with that layer selected, the text layer, let's go up here to Image, Resize, and we're going to go to Scale. Now what that's going to allow us to do is bring these letters even bigger than our 72 points that we set it at. Let's go here and just pull it up. Let's go here. And all I'm doing is left clicking on these bars and pulling it across. Let's go here. That looks pretty good. Let's click OK. Now let's click on our Move tool. We're going to move this down just a little bit, just to keep it in the blue. There, now that looks really good. And I think we did a really nice job there. But we can make it better, right folks? Well, this is a learning experience, so play with the elements. Once I was teaching this class and somebody said, Jack, how do you know all these different pull-down menus and everything? I sit here and play with these things, and I see what do they do. And you know, just learning from playing makes a big difference. You can be really original because you're going to pick up tips and tricks on your own. So let's go ahead and grab a bevel. You know how I like bevels, and I get this from these effects up here. And grab a bevel, and I can just click apply, or I don't know, my way of doing things, I just click on it and I'll drag it on top of that right there. See how it highlights that layer? That's where it's going to be placed, and just let it go. See how I got a bevel? It's a nice bevel on there. Now with that bevel adding to that layer, you know from before that we get a layer styles icon. I can double click that. Now we can change that bevel size. Let's raise it up a little bit off the page. Almost makes it look 3D, huh? Brings it right up off the page. And when it goes white like that, that's way too much. You just want it to be a little bit raised off of the top of the page. Now we're going to add a little bit of stroke color, and what this will do is actually set it so there's like a little background glow. Change it to the color it works. I always find yellow works really well with red. And we're going to go ahead and scale that up a little bit. Watch what happens if I scale it a lot. See, it puts it all back here. Let's scale it down. Scale it down some more. And maybe a little bit more. There. Now you see how you have a nice background glow. It almost looks like it's reflecting backwards. Looks really good. You can change the opacity of it if you want to make it even less obtrusive. Kind of blend it. See how it kind of blends down? That's really heavy. We'll just blend it down a little bit. There we go. Click OK. And there you have it. Now I think it's ready to go inside of a scrapbook. Well folks, I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial of the cookie cutter tool. And I threw in some extra steps in there just to help you out. Create a nice background layer, and then we created some really good looking text to go along with it. So it's a conversation piece. So not only are they going to look at the beautiful birthday picture that you've taken, they're also going to ask, how did you do those letters? Well, until next time, keep playing around with Photoshop Elements 6, and I'll see you back here very soon. Bye for now.